Thank you. Alright, that's another boss down. I'm gonna mark you, like, right here. What do I get for that fight? Ice Spear. Neat. Not gonna use it. Scales of the Dex, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, where do I want to go next? I mean, I can't do the lighthouse, or not the lighthouse, I can't do the tower yet. Let's go here. Let's go here. I think that's the move. Okay, so now what I want to do is, because to get to where I want to get to for the next tree boss, okay, yeah, to get to where I want to get to for the next tree boss, it's actually just faster from here. And while I'm at it, I may as well go ahead and progress Yura's questline as well, so that I can get a hold of what will make it a lot easier to deal with. You know what? Let's go down here. Get a hold of something that'll make it a lot easier to deal with Moog, which is the Purified Crystal tier. Grab this golden seed. There's a golden seed. There's a couple in the lake area, but I don't know where... I know where one of them is. I don't know where the other one is off the top of my head. So we're going to help out Yura real quick, which nets us some upgrade materials and something. Yura's having a bad time with his friend over here. Ow. I feel like Ravenmount Assassin is so much less annoying than Nereus. Like, Nereus is so much more aggravating to deal with, I feel like. Because it's like he gets you in that combo with his Reduvia, and also Reduvia's Ash of War just melts. Which, when I'm playing an intelligence build, I typically will use actually Reduvia as my secondary weapon.
Oh, that bloody thing, here's a token.
Alright, so we get a smithing 5. And here we get some more lore. So it's implied that Yura had romantic feelings towards Eleonora. Maybe they were just comrades. I interpret it romantically, a lot of people do, but other people interpret them as having just been, you know, very deeply connected comrades in arms. But Yura is going through hunting down those who are hunting their fellow Tarnished, and those who are part of Moog's band. Okay. So this will put me over here, then I can go up, loop around. I'm gonna say... No, this doesn't count as Altus. I just don't want to accidentally break the region lock. And you gotta be careful, because this kind of takes you... This takes you to, I want to say, the Bellum Church, but it also kind of takes you right up to, like, the steps of Altus. So now we're at Bellum Highway, which... Bach shows up here as you progress his questline. But there's a couple things we can do here. There's another Knight's Cap boss fight that we can do. What time of day is it? It's morning. Okay, yeah, there's another Knight's Cav here. There's a Sacred Tear here. There's easy... Hey, there's Bach. There's easy access to... not Tree Sentinel, the Erdtree Avatar, I think? I forgot to change the time of day. And we're not counting what I just did with the Ravenmount Assassin as, like, part of the boss count. NPC invasions, I don't believe, count towards that. I think they sort of kind of do in Shadow of the Erdtree, depending on your interpretation of things, but for what we're doing, those don't count towards my total. So we're going to just go ahead and deal with the the Knight's Cav while we're here. Get Holy on my sword. I should probably get Golden Vow online as well. At some point. Whoop. No thank you. Man, Torrent pivoting on a dime. No. Oh, come on. Very rude of you. Very rude of you. Oh, really? My holy wears off right when I get him down. Oh, hey, that was on me. I thought I hit the dodge, and I didn't. Really? Really with those iframes? Really with those iframes? That's a little bit silly. That's a little silly. Oh, God, this terrain is obnoxious. All right, let's just get out of that tree line. Really with those iframes? Come on with that. That's just silly. All right, so we have the Knight Rider Glaive. If I were doing a Knight's Cab build, that'd be a fun weapon to tool around with, but I'm not. So I got to be careful here because this starts to get towards the approach to Altus. And I've seen some people count this area as part of Altus, and I've seen some people count this area as part of Liurnia. Kind of as far as I'm concerned, when you climb the stairs, you're in Altus. And if I don't climb the stairs, as far as I'm concerned, like, this is still the greater Liurnia region, I feel like. You may disagree. If you do, that's fine. I encourage you to disagree. If you disagree, just do it politely. But I think as long as I've not climbed the steps into Altus, like, I consider the greater Altus area to be like Altus, Mount Gelmir, and Volcano Manor. So now we're gonna go and pop over here and deal with that boss. I'm having dinner with a good friend of mine, so I gotta keep an eye on my time. Always want to grab these royal fruit, because at some point off camera I might farm... where am I trying to be? Can I get to there from here? I don't think I've ever tried. I don't think this takes me up high enough. Yeah, no, this doesn't take me up high enough. And now I might have hosed myself a little bit. Okay, there we go. You gotta be so careful with jumping down from high things in this game, because it is very easy for the game to, like, hold on to your fall distance longer than it should, and then you'll just die for falls that you shouldn't. It's ridiculous. I don't remember what thought I had before I formed other thoughts. I guess as long as I'm over here, maybe I should go ahead and just deal with homie in the church. Okay. I don't like fighting church homie. Vike, who, as far as we're understanding of the lore, Vike is, next to you, the closest person who made it to... He was the person who made it closest to the throne, aside from you, or Tarnished. But something terrible happened to his maiden, it's implied. Something tragic happened to Vike that made him go mad. And Vike was implied to have taken one of the dragons as his... Like, Vike was implied to have fallen in love with one of the dragons, and she taught him their ways. Again, some people interpret it as being just a platonic devotion. the wording seems to really heavily imply that they were in love. But it's a little ambiguous whether Vike went mad because of something that happened to her, if he went mad because of his maiden being killed. I feel like the implication is more that he went mad after his maiden was killed. There's a site of grace somewhere around here that I can never find. It's like somewhat hidden in the tree line. There it is. But Vike is also the guy on the cover. I don't know if that meant that Vike used to have like a bigger role in the story, kind of like how Kale had a much bigger role in the story, and then most of Kale's role, or Kale's like whole questline, was removed. So I don't know if it's the same thing for Vike, but Vike is the guy on the cover of Elden Ring, and you fight Vike after he's lost his mind here. There's also Shabriri's Woe down there, which is great to use to draw aggro on your Mimic tier summon if you use that. You fight Vike consumed by madness here, but later you can kind of fight Vike in his prime in the snowfields, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty tough fight. This is one of those invasion encounters that can kind of go one of two ways. It can go like pretty well for you, or it can go very bad for you. He has a lot of lingering AoE attacks, and he has madness buildup, which, as you saw, when madness builds up, it takes out a big chunk of your health as well as your mana. So I like to grab this side of grace just in case I throw when I fight Vike. His spear is such a fun weapon also. I love Vike's spear. For anybody screaming at their screen, like, for me to use my Ashes of War more and my spells more, similar to some other things that you see me do in this run, I'm doing a lot of self-imposed things to make this harder on myself, because again, I feel like it wouldn't be as fun if I just like came through, like if you just watched me go into every fight and just spam my Ash of War every single boss fight. I feel like that's not as fun for you guys. So I'm kind of trying to like not just go into encounters and just spam. Ah! That said, that is how that can go. It's very, very, very dangerous to let Vike Endurance break you. I should probably invest some more stats into Endurance. It's very dangerous to let Vike Endurance break you because so many of his moves are like that, where it's just that lingering AoE damage. And just that passive damage buildup will just get you every time. Right? See, like, that lingering damage is just... oh my gosh. And you're stuck, is the thing. Like, when you get hit by... when Madness procs, you're just stuck in place for a while. Fun fact, though, you can actually, like... so, I know why that happened, but I disagree. So now let's just focus and lock in for this.
This fight has been instructive. I do appreciate the lesson.
There we go. Okay. Sweet genius. Yeah, Vike's War Spear is a really fun weapon. What are the stat requirements for that? Because I actually like that weapon a lot. And it's good for NPC invaders. Strength Dex. Alright, well that's not for this build. That's going to be a whole other series. So, Vare wants you to get Maiden Blood on this cloth as part of his questline. You can either be a terrible person and kill Irina for her blood, implying that she was always destined to be a Finger Maiden, or you can get blood from Vike's Maiden here, which is the, you know, more moral of the immoral options in that you're not murking an innocent blind girl to get what you need. So now we're going to just pivot on down here. Oh, I didn't explain what I was doing in the tower before. If you destroy the... If you take out the monks in the tower, then that makes the giant eyeball that causes madness buildup in this area go away, so that's why I did that. Okay, and down here is where we want to be. Because thar be an Erd Tree avatar to deal with and deal with harshly. Weak to flame, so guess what we're going to use? Now I need to change up how I have things set up real quick here, because this is not a good setup. Let's do this. And can I... Oh, hey, hi! Wasn't sure how close you were. That's not the thing. Okay, hold on. Okay. Now we're ready. I got greedy. I was like, I wonder how many little flames I can get off before he hits me. Turns out that many. So you can do the little dodge thing I did, or you can just run in a straight line to get away from those blasts. The thing that to me makes running in a straight line more risky is you just don't always have the room to maneuver. Oh, boo. Oh, I was out of flame anyways. I was like, I'll just greed that kill. Yeah, turns out that I was all out of FP. Okay, well that was a thing. None of that went as planned, but it went. Alright, well, I gotta go to dinner, so I think I'm gonna call it here. There's another church up here. I'm actually gonna call it over here. Go ahead and just knock out this last little bit of housekeeping real quick. Grab another sacred tear while I'm at it. And I think at this point, like, I've been really favoring everything but endurance right now. And I'm gonna... I need a little bit more endurance so that I can carry a shield also. But... Right, like, what do I have in my... I guess I could take off the sacrificial axe for the time being. Because you really kind of only need the sacrificial axe when you're in the world. You don't really need the sacrificial axe in boss fights, because obviously you don't typically have ads to take out to get your points up. I don't think there's a sacred tear in this church. I think it's just the gold sewing needle in this church. Yeah. So you use that to further box quest line. Hi, turtle. Hi, doggy. Okay. I think we're going to go next. But that's later me's problem. For the time being, I think I'm going to call it and go to dinner with my friend and then come back and record some more content for you guys. Oh, right, and we're back. I've got a belly full of spaghetti and I'm ready to roll. So let's knock out a few things. We're actually going to go to Roundtable Hold before we get started here. Reason being is that I want to progress Nefeli's questline before I go to the village of the Almanorix, which requires me to talk to Sir Gideon Alfenir, the All-Knowing, and have him be very rude to me. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot I picked up some sacred tears that I didn't use. Let's just do a little bit of that. And let's do that, because we're going to start using magic a little bit more with this build. Now, how's my talisman set up? I would love... What talisman do I want? I don't think I have the talisman that I want right now. Okay, no worries. Nay bother. Alright, so now that I've spoken to Gideon, I can go talk to Nefeli and progress her questline a bit more. There's Insha, he's a dirtbag.
You again. I thought you'd receive a summons to the round
So,
table.
you want to make sure that you talk to Nefeli in Stormvale, whether you want to summon her to help you fight Godric or not. Because if you don't talk to her, then you don't get the Arsenal Charm, which is useful.
Yes. I wonder if you've met he's in his study. The room Encher's guard.
Okay, so this is important.
If you haven't already, Father is leader of the round. I'm sure talking to him will be worth your while.
I'm not actually sure why the door is closed right now, because I thought once you spoke to Gideon and rested at the side of Grace, the door to his study opened, because he's not hanging out in front of the thing anymore, so not quite sure if I have to talk to the Two Fingers again before I talk to Gideon. Or maybe I just didn't talk to the Two Fingers at all in this save. But Nefeli's call out. Yeah, no, I spoke to them. Maybe I have to prove myself by taking out Godric and then confirming, or taking out, you know, a remembrance boss, and then talking to old lady over here to have the game state update the fact that I've done that. And then I think his study opens, but it doesn't matter. We're not going to really talk to him right now. But Nefeli makes an interesting comment about Gideon being her foster father. Obviously, since, you know, she's Nefeli Lu and he's Gideon Ofnir. But then when we meet Nefeli in the village of the Albinurics, she kind of says the other half of a story that Gideon starts to tell us, where Gideon starts to tell us the story about how he found Nefeli as a babe or a child or something, and he found use for her strength, her capabilities, and likely he surmised that she is from Horalu's bloodline, hence the name. And so there was value in keeping her around. But then when we talk to Nefeli, she implies that... I don't know if you can backstab Aiden. When you talk to Nefeli, she implies that she was taken from her village after her people were all but wiped out. She says that the massacre of the village of the Albinorics reminds her of the massacre of her village. So the implication there is that Gideon wiped out Nefeli's village and then decided to keep her. And he refers to her as like little more than a hound. It's Gideon's a complicated character, because like there's no debating he's a horrible person. However, whoa, that's not what we want. There's no debating that Gideon's a horrible person, but it's a little ambiguous how he actually feels about Nefeli. Because, right, like, when you go to do Nefeli's questline, Gideon discards her unceremoniously, like she means nothing to him the moment she crosses him and upsets his plans. But then at the same time, like, while he doesn't interfere if you decide to do the unspeakable for Celovus, he does not interfere with you doing that, but he does try to convince you not to. So it's complicated figuring out how he feels about Nefeli. And the thing of it is, though, is regardless of that complication, I think my take on it is that he looks at Nefeli kind of as little more than a pet that happens to be capable of thought. Especially when you take into account the fact that he's well aware of exactly what Celovus does to the people he turns into dolls. Because it's more than just robbing you of your will and making you do his bidding, serve his interests and the like. Both Gideon and Ranni use very specific language for Celovus that leaves nothing to interpretation. Gideon specifically calls Celovus a dolly botherer with regards to the people that he turns into living dolls, and that comes with certain connotations. And if you want to try to split hairs and for some reason defend this guy, then if you attempt to do his questline and give Ranni the potion that would subvert her will, Ranni uses very specific language for what she knows Celovus intended to do to her. So there's no debating what Celovus is. So it is very cathartic for Celavis to get his comeuppance as you move Randy's questline along. And if you do turn Nefeli into a puppet, like the description of her spirit ash is just heartbreaking. I could never, which is too bad. Like I wish there was some other way to have Nefeli be like a permanent partner in battle, because she has such an amazing moveset and she's such a great character. But there's no way in any universe that I'm going to do what would need to be done to have her as a puppet. So in case you're wondering how I know the description, it's because I'm obsessed with Elden Ring and I've read the description of basically every item in the game,
Oh,
which is where a lot of the lore is hidden.
well,
So now we can see this massacre of Albinaurics.
what's happened to this village? I witnessed a sight much the same in my infancy.
See, and so this kind of makes me wonder
Murder and pillage unchecked.
if Gideon assumed she was too young to remember what happened to her people.
But this time, I'm a woman grown, and though the suffering cannot be undone, I can still mete out justice. Justice to the oppressors. Let the scars I carve remind them. I am Nefeli Lu, warrior.
And this is kind of furthers that idea in Elden Ring of it being really kind of this Greek tragedy or this Shakespearean tragedy where Nefeli just has this undying love and devotion for her father that, you know, she finally witnesses him do something that she can't stomach, she can't forgive. And I think it's a little bit ambiguous as to whether she knew this was Gideon's hand, but to me the evidence leans more towards she knew this was done at Gideon's behest. And we'll get more context for this story as we go through now and do a little bit of groundwork for Latena's questline. So we're going to deal with this guy real quick. He's one of the perfumers who I believe their deal is like they roam the battlefield. Oh, boo. Pillaging the departed. Let's see. The item descriptions tell us something. These heresy-inclined perfumers imbibe their own spices to alter body and mind. Their slow descent into self-destruction is what earned them their name. So there's more perfumer items to give you more lore about them. But now, let's go say hi to this guy.
Please, no. Dear me.
I love his voice actor.
I haven't a clue.
No secrets lie with me, not a one.
Oh, please leave me be.
So he thinks that we're with Gideon right now.
Wait then. You're not one of them. Well, what a relief.
Hey man, I got you. Please cover your mouth.
Goodness me. I am Albus, an Albinoric, as you can see.
So I don't know if we've just only seen old male Albinaurics, but like, it's interesting, right? The Albinauric males look a lot more like withered, almost like a Dark Souls hollow, while the females very much just look like a normal woman.
And if you should meet the young Albinoric Latena, then please give it to her.
So yeah, I don't know if we just never encounter a younger male Albinauric. But I mean, look at him. He's gaunt. He's kind of falling apart. But that's kind of how all the male Albinaurics you meet are. If I keep talking to him, then he'll die. So we're just gonna leave him be. The moral of any questline in Elden Ring is, as long as you don't interact with people, they usually stay alive longer. So only talk to people to a point. No one's life is better for meeting the Tarnished except for maybe Raya. Raya and Nefeli. So now that we've spoken to Nefeli, we can trigger this fight. We can have her come and help us in this fight. And Nefeli can help you in at least one other boss fight. She can actually, if you complete her questline, she can actually help you fight Horalu, which is very poetic. I would have loved for the DLC to add a Nefeli ending. Nefeli, you good?